the Cannabis for Private Purposes Bill. It reared its head again last week when on Friday was the deadline for our submission for comments that go through to the National Council of Provinces. There was quite a lot of hoo-ha in the days before about the very first wording of the bill having omitted cultivation, which was worrying. Cultivation was included in this draft of the bill, but further down and kind of by default. So that was certainly buzzing around the cannabis community, and we'd like to thank Brent Pollock and the folk over at Harambe Solutions for sending that around the community and making everybody aware that little things can slip us by. But then, speaking of little things, how much longer are we going to have to nitpick every single aspect of this bill? And we can most certainly say that this latest iteration, and there's been much debate about which is the correct version for us to comment on, but let's put that aside. This particular iteration, which you can find on a blog that we're going to be publishing this week, is certainly a vast improvement from the last iteration, and certainly a vast improvement from the first one. You know, since October 2020, we've had all sorts of nonsense in this bill. 15 years for even consuming cannabis in front of a child, or 15 years for this and 15 years for that. Then we had the cannabis and hemp watch, which wasted our time for quite a few months. And luckily now we have a pared down version. We wouldn't say it's impeccably written, but the question is, and I don't have an answer to this question, but it's certainly come up with in lots of conversations that I've been having and that the team have been having, is when do we just say, okay, we will accept this, and if they pull any fast ones, we know that we can always go back to court. We know we've always got the trial of the plant. So we know that the ruling party would really like to pass this bill before the elections in April. So what we think is going to happen is this bill is going to pass, because it doesn't matter what the National Council of Provinces say, unless it's something super critical. There is the chance that the National Assembly will just ignore the National Council of Provinces and just pass the bill anyway. And then remember, it doesn't become law until Cyril puts his $1 million signature on it. And that would be a day, you know. That would be certainly, I think, something to celebrate, but not celebrate all over the place, because we don't have trade yet. But then, what we do know is that we have to get a cannabis for all purposes bill. So maybe we can concentrate on that and making that fair and equitable and sustainable, and the regulations that go with that. So it could be that this cannabis for private purposes bill is just a shadow bill, you know, something to just keep the people happy for now. And at least we have our duffel private clubs and our project that we're working so hard on, you know, to at least we do have a little bit of a gap, you would say. We've got the Hayes Club case coming up. We've got the Labour Court case coming up. So it certainly is going to be a very busy year in 2024. And then a few days before the Cannabis for Private Purposes bill hoo-ha was all whizzing around the airwaves, we got a change to the Medicines Act, which, according to quite a few legal minds, is incredibly badly written. So that's probably all I will say about that, because if we're looking for laws and regulations that are first and foremost for all, we are also looking for laws and regulations that are written in an accessible way for all. And that it is even for us as activists who are used to drug policy and law and reading all of these documents, I must say that that's changing to the schedules of the Medicines Act just absolutely baffled me. I don't see any reason to actually sit and dissect it. Maybe somebody else will. But what's happened, you know, it's out there, this change. And then at the same time in America, we've also had this incredible runaround with the changing of the schedules, which also happened last week. And I had a long conversation with Michael Krawitz in Virginia about what this means and what it would mean for the rest of the world, and certainly what it would mean for the United Nations conventions, because one must remember that America has also signed those conventions, just the way as South Africa has, and over 150 member states have. They've signed those drug policy conventions. So we're heading off to Vienna in March to speak about exactly that. But it certainly is interesting times when it comes to bills and laws and regulations and schedules and conventions and all of this. But never fear. You don't have to remember the minutiae of it, because Fields of Green for All surrounds ourselves with experts. We've got experts in the international conventions. We've got experts in South African and international law that are all part of our family. So this is an invitation to continue to be a member of our family or join our family if you would like to. You can visit our website to find out how to do that. And if you have any questions, you know that you can always contact Fields of Green for All, either on our office hours number, or via our website, or via our myriad of social media channels. But I thought I'd just have a little chat about the bill and the schedules and the what, because we're out there and we've got your backs, I promise.